What's up, guys? Welcome back to PB and J. I'm here with Brian and Patrick, and today we wanted to do a fun video about comics, and we decided to talk about our all-time favorite characters. We've been reading, for a long, long time, and we got characters we all love and we all hate, but we wanted to find out today who is the number one favorite character in all of comics and why. So I'll kick it off with Patrick. Who's your favorite character?
Hey, what's up, guys? All right, let's go down the list. I like Spider-Man, Hulk. I've got some DC characters like Batman, I like Superman, but I think my all-time favorite is going to be one of the Green Lanterns. In my opinion, he's probably the greatest Green Lantern of all time, except for when Ryan Reynolds, hint, hint, played him on screen. It would be Hal Jordan. So I've got Showcase 22, made in 1959. I read the comic book. It's all good. He's my favorite comic book character because when I first started watching cartoons with the Super Friends, he's the one that interested me actually the most. I always waited for his episodes to come on, and I always loved his fights with Sinestro. So I really like him. Like I said, I think that he's the strongest. He's the strongest willed Green Lantern. And I believe he's the strongest Green Lantern out there.
So you started liking him from Super Friends, not so much from the comics.
No, from Super Friends. That's because that's how I was introduced to him, and then that's why I got his first appearances. So I got Showcase 22, I got Green Lantern #1, and it stemmed from that point. I liked the way they portrayed him in the cartoon. I liked the voice that he used. I liked what he stood for. Everything. Exactly the opposite of the movie, actually.
No,
I started actually liking Hal Jordan less after I saw the movie.
No. Since you're more the expert on Hal Jordan, real quick, what was the differences between the comic and the movie? His character wise, what?
Well, Ryan Reynolds just played Ryan Reynolds, just making jokes all the time. That's not Hal Jordan. He's just strict. He's like a paladin. He's always doing the right thing. Believe that Ryan Reynolds, his character, didn't believe in himself. I didn't believe he was strong-willed at all. I didn't think he had the appropriate imagination to wield the ring properly. It's just everything. I just couldn't stand watching the movie. It was just.
I remember you telling me when you saw the trailer, where that one scene where he changed into his costume really quick, and he did that and his friend was surprised that he was able to do that. You were like, that's not Hal Jordan at all, right?
Yeah, no.
Even before watching the movie, you knew it was gonna suck.
Yeah, I know, and it's too bad but it came true. Whatever I thought about the movie was exactly true. He was just horrible. It could have been so much better if they just had somebody that could stick to the principles that Hal Jordan actually possessed.
Yeah, because Hal Jordan is like you said, it's all about the green, especially the green rings. It's all powered by willpower, and you have to be someone who's supremely confident in yourself, right?
Yeah.
There's no oh, I don't know what I'm doing. There's none of that. He was a fighter pilot, right? And test pilot. He wasn't scared of anything.
No, and I actually read that comic, The Showcase 22. I mean, it's a decent story, but it just shows what is that. He is a womanizer, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely a womanizer. I did have one question on that. I don't know if you guys know, but I don't know how he's able to recite what the Green Lantern say. I'm wondering if the lantern comes with an owner's manual, because nowhere in the beginning when he retrieved the ring does it say he has to say that stuff in the comic book. I didn't read it anyway, and I read it twice. It was a little while ago, but I don't remember ever him knowing how to say that. So they didn't explain that, but maybe the lantern just tells him where it's written there. I don't know.
Did the alien that gave him the ring tell him, or no?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I didn't see that. And I looked for it twice. I was like, huh, that's weird. How does he know this? And then it dawned on me that everything comes with an owner's manual. And I'm like, that's where he got it from. Yeah, no, his fighting was in the cartoons. I loved it. He's just epic. Wait, he died twice. He came back twice. He's defeated so many foes. He's overcome adversities. I'm not saying that the other Green Lanterns didn't, but I think what he's accomplished is much more than what the other Lanterns have accomplished also. So not only is he my favorite character as Green Lantern, but he's my favorite Green Lantern character as well.
And have you read a lot of Guy Gardner and John Stewart, or not really?
Not too much. Not too much. Have you read those?
Yeah, I read a lot. They were in the Justice League a lot. Especially remember when Hal Jordan went evil when he turned to Parallax.
Right.
And John Stewart was like big time in the comics for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, probably a little younger, I'd say people probably in their 20s, I think they grew up with John Stewart because he was on the cartoon.
Right.
Justice League Unlimited. And so a lot of people like John Stewart's their guy. And he's cool. He's cool too. He's like a military dude. And he was an architect. So he comes up with crazy complex constructions and stuff. So he's pretty cool. Guy Gardner, he was kind of more of a jokey guy.
A lot of people like Rayner too, right?
Yeah, and Rayner. He was more like my group, my age. When I was growing up in the 90s, it was Rayner. Rayner was the guy.
Uh-huh.
He was cool too because he was young and he was an artist. So he would come up with like, way crazy constructions. And it was always cool because him and Wally West, when they joined the JLA, they were the youngest. Wally West took over for Barry, right? Mm-hmm. And they would kind of talk to each other like, "Oh man, this is crazy! I can't believe we're here with Superman and Batman." Like, I think there was one where Cal said something like, "It's like we're playing with the Beatles," So they're always in awe of the other heroes. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, Rayner's the guy I grew up with. And I like him too. And eventually he became the White Lantern, right?
Yeah.
So they've actually kept Kyle Rayner around. Not like Wally West, which is the New 52, just totally just wrecked. They just killed that guy, destroyed his character. But Rayner's dope. I like Rayner, but Hal Jordan's dope too, though. When I was actually kind of a little annoyed when they brought back Hal Jordan with Rebirth. I think that was in 2004. Mm-hmm. Because he was the Spectre at the time, and they brought him back, and I was like, "Oh man, what are they gonna do with Rayner?" But then I read Rebirth, and it was like super good, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, Hal Jordan's dope." I was like, "I get it."
Yeah, that's cool. Speaking of lanterns, there's a new lantern coming out, a Gold Lantern.
Yeah, we were just talking about that off air.
Yeah, so I'm interested in getting that one, and Brian, you gonna get that one too?
Yeah, I'll stop by my comic book shop and pick it up.
Nice.
And what do you think about his powers, about being happy?
I don't know. That's interesting, right? I don't know. Can't wait to see.
Yeah, that's kind of it seems like a kind of a goofy power. You power your ring by happiness. But I mean, it sounds interesting. They could come up. It could be really good. And then which character do you not care for? We're gonna go the opposite way here.
Okay, so I hate the Wonder Twins, but there's another character that I hate even worse, and this is all from the 70s cartoon also that I saw. Marvin White, and his pet Wonder Dog. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but he's just a kid. He was a junior superhero, a junior super friend. And he was just the worst possible character. I mean, I used to love waking up in the mornings and watching the cartoon. And as soon as he came on, I would just flip it off and do something else. Yeah, so it would be Marvin White. He's the one that I hate the most.
What was he on?
He was on he was on the Super Friends. Yeah, he was I guess he was clever and really resourceful. So they made him important to the Super Friends, and he had a big M on his chest for Marvin. I don't know. Come on. Yep. So that's it.
Hey Pat, going back to the Green Lantern movie, um, have you watched the second Deadpool movie?
No, I haven't seen it yet, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a scene in the end credits that's like where Ryan Reynolds makes fun of himself for taking the role for Green Lantern. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I haven't had much time to watch stuff. Uh, I just saw that. I just saw the final Star Wars. Finally saw it. Oh boy. Okay.
So about you, Brian? Who's your favorite?
Um, so like everything goes back to so of course I like Spider-Man and yeah, mainly Spider-Man and Venom. Actually, I really like Venom. He's like in my top two or three.
Yeah.
Because he's like a bad guy, but sometimes he's a good guy, and he just, like the character like Eddie Brock, he just like, his life he just has a run in with bad luck, and um, like bad things always happen to him until he gets the symbiote, and then he can kind of do some good but also some evil. So he kind of walked the line, which I thought was pretty cool. Like he wasn't really always a good guy or like always a bad guy. Um, but my personal favorite, and it goes back to my story from the first episode about how I got into comics, is like watching those X-Men cartoons. So um, the character that I thought was really cool, and there's a reason for it personally, is Gambit. And the reason for that is like when I was a teenager, I was really into playing cards, and I would try to do like magic tricks and learn how to shuffle the cards in different ways and use it as like a weapon. Like take a card and just like throw it against the wall and have it stick. Um, and then like watching these X-Men cartoons, there's a character that actually did all that stuff, and he took it to another level slightly by having the kinetic power to charge up the card and throw it at something and have it make a small explosion. So so that's why I it just matched like what I thought was really cool at the time when I was growing up. And I watched a lot of like these Chinese movies like that were made in Hong Kong, like that had a lot to do with gambling. So like there would be some Chow Yun Fat movies where he was like the movie was called like God of Gambler or something, and he would be able to like he never lost gambling pretty much. So like I was really into like those kind of movies back then, and just like play like I always had a deck of playing cards with me all the time back then. So that's what led me into liking Gambit as a character. And so the dumb thing is like I thought he was French, but then he's Cajun. So that's I mean I didn't know what Cajun was when I was a kid. So because he was always speaking French, right?
Yeah, he has that. Yeah, he has that Creole going.
Yeah, like Creole. Yeah.
So, you were there. You were there at Comic-Con when Channing Tatum came out, right? As Gambit.
I don't think I was there. No.
You weren't there that one.
No.
What did you think about that? About Channing Tatum wanting to play Gambit? I mean, it's probably not going to happen now.
I don't know.
But like he was super into it. Like he really wanted to play him really bad.
Yeah, I don't know if he would work. The guy that was in that, the one was that in the Wolverine movie. What was the actor's name again?
Oh, Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah, he wrecked that character. Just like they almost wrecked the Deadpool, but
yeah,
they revive him. So, but yeah, Channing Tatum, I don't know. I would have to see it, but because he's like Channing Tatum's more like a comedic character. Like I see him more as a comedic character if he were to play that role, and I don't see Gambit as that type of character. He's more, in a way, serious, but with a lot of like one-liners, kind of. So yeah, I don't know. I would have to see. So what do you think? Like, do you think it would have worked out if the movie happened?
Yeah, I was actually really looking. Well, I was kind of looking forward to seeing it because he was really passionate about it. Like he was helping with the script and he was a producer on it. And I think the reason he liked the character so much is because he's from Louisiana, and his
Okay.
real accent is like Gambit's. That's how he really talks. Yeah, he has a Louisiana drawl, like not like Gambit where he's like half speaking half French all the time, but he does have a drawl, and I think he does speak French. He even spoke French in Hateful Eight. He spoke so that's why he was so passionate about it. He was like, I am Gambit, kind of. And so I was kind of interested in that. He was so passive, like Tom Hardy with Venom.
Yeah.
That's how he was. So I was kind of like looking for. I was like pretty sure the movie wasn't going to be good, but at least I wanted to see his take on it because he was so into it. But they try to get it. They try to get that movie going for like 5-6 years, and it just wasn't happening.
I can't. Yeah, I don't even know who the villain would be in that movie. You know, he doesn't really have any direct.
Actually, we just found out just a day or two ago
Okay.
that the villain was going to be Mr. Sinister.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, because the Simon Kinberg, the writer, they did a watch party with I think it was X-Men Days of Future Past, and people were asking him questions, and one of the questions was, what was up with Sinister? Because remember at the end of Apocalypse, they had the SX Corp,
Yeah.
yeah. And the writer, she goes, well, I can spill the beans now since we're not going to do it. But but that scene was meant to set up Gambit, and Sinister was going to be the villain in the Gambit movie.
Would have been cool.
Yeah, and I was like, I actually got a little sad. I was like, oh, that sounds pretty dope, actually. But with the Disney takeover and Fox, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, they probably have to reboot the X-Men series first. Before any of that stuff happens, right?
Yeah, they gotta start from scratch. And then Sinister was created by Apocalypse, so you have to go, you have to bring Apocalypse in and then Sinister. So it's gonna be a while. But like Patrick, do you have any characters you don't really care for? Like people talk up a lot or something, and you're like, man, that guy kind of sucks.
No,
I mean Brian, like.
Oh, I don't know. Like before we started recording, I was joking about the Blob, just because like he, so this is all based on the cartoons back then. Like he was just like big, but then like it didn't make sense to me why he was able to absorb the like Cyclops' blast and stuff. So I mean, I don't really dislike him. I just couldn't think of anyone. That's the first one that came to my mind. So.
And since you like Venom so much, what'd you think about Tom Hardy as Venom?
I thought it was just okay.
Just okay?
Yeah. Like, I think the Tom Hardy, the actor, like whenever he gets into these characters, I don't know if he gets too into it, but it kind of goes a little bit too far. Like when he was Bane, like when he spoke, it was like a little bit harder to hear. And then kind of when he was Venom, it was similar, like in a way too. I mean, it has nothing to do with his voice, right? It's more of like how they made that character, but it just happened twice, two times in a row for a superhero movie. So, right?
What did you say?
Well, supposedly, like in Batman, they improved it. Like,
yeah, they improved it. They had to. Yeah,
it was originally worse. So
yeah, if you can find the OG trailer, it was way worse. Like it sounded cool, it sounded super scary, but I didn't know what he was saying.
Yeah, you need to add subtitles to that.
Yeah, so they had to go back and redo the whole movie.
But yeah, the Venom movie, I thought it was okay. It was entertaining. I didn't think it was awesome or anything, but it was fine.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was fun, but it's by far not one of the best superhero movies. No way.
I mean, it's better than Spider-Man 3. So
yeah, yeah, a big improvement there.
I'm afraid to rewatch that movie just to refresh my memory on that.
Oh, Spider-Man 3?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it since the theater. I was like, I burned it out of my memory. I'm like, never again. I'm not ever gonna watch this again. Like I heard people saying like, it's not that bad. If you go back, it's really not. But I don't want to risk it. I'll watch something else. Yeah, we'll see this Venom 2 because Hardy said that he didn't say it, but people were saying that he wasn't too happy with how Venom came out, and that's why they got a new director and stuff. And they were like, let's kind of redo this here. Let's get a little more serious. And eventually he'll cross over with Spider-Man. Eventually, that's gonna happen.
Well, I mean, story wise, like they're in the opposite part of the country, right? Because Venom
Yeah.
is in San Francisco, so you would have to. I mean, it's easy to tie together, right? He could just say he got a gig at the Daily Bugle or something, and then
Yeah. Oh yeah.
he'll end up in New York.
And I like that they did do in Frisco because in the comics that was when he broke off to start doing his own series. They were all in Frisco,
Okay.
and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I like that. Because back in the '90s, Venom before he got his own series, he would just have like a mini series, like once a year. He'd have like a 6-issue mini series next year, 4-issue stuff like that, and they took place in Frisco. So my favorite character, well, my favorite characters, these have been like my top 5 forever since I was a kid, and they are the Punisher, Batman, Superman, Captain America, and then my top dog is the Hulk. And yeah, and the reason why those were like I didn't realize it, until I got older, but the reason was when I was a kid and I first started collecting comics, those were like the first series I collected. Punisher Warzone, that came out like the '93, I think. And then Batman Superman because you had to, right? And then Captain America, I started collecting him a little later, but he was dope. And actually it's like Captain America, Spider-Man, like one of those two. I kind of like switch them out. But the Hulk, the reason why he was my favorite is I remember when I was a kid, and you remember, Patrick, you remember you can order them in the mail? You can get a mail order subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. When I was a kid, I think for my birthday or Christmas, my dad let me order. He let me pick one. He's like, you can order a subscription, and they were dirt cheap, dude. Like for like a year's worth of comics, they were like $10.
Oh wow.
It was, yeah, dirt cheap. And I think that's why my dad did that. He's like, yeah, whatever, $10, I don't care. Um, and I remember I was looking, I'm like, which one is it gonna be? Which one's gonna be? And I was like, well, I'm not reading the Hulk right now. That sounds kind of cool. And so I just picked the Hulk, just random, not even no reason. I just went, I'm not reading the Hulk right now. So I picked it, and I started getting them in the mail. And that is jacked up because it wouldn't be in a board. They would just roll it up and put it in your mailbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those ones are not in the. I had to rebuy those when I got older. They were all jacked up.
So they would just mail it like a magazine, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not wrapped or anything.
Nope.
The, the shipping label would be like on the cover or something.
Oh no, it would be like in a thin, really thin plastic bag.
Okay.
Really, I mean, it was nothing. They'll roll it up, throw it in there, just stick it into the mailbox. So yeah, they were all messed up. So when I was older, I was like, I had to go rebuy those. But like I said, there are only 12 of them. It's not a big deal. But at the time, so this is like '93. I chose correctly because the Hulk at the time was by far Marvel's best book. It was written by Peter David, and pencilers were Dale Keown and Gary Frank, and it was like I didn't know it at the time, but as I got older, like they were winning awards every single year. Best ongoing series Hulk, best writer Peter David, best artist Gary Frank, Dale Keown. So it was I just happened to hit on Marvel's best book at the time, and it was so good. And that was when it was the Hulk. It was Professor Hulk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was the Hulk I grew up with, was Professor Hulk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so the comics were super good. They were funny, like they were like laugh out loud funny. That's all, like because he was always cracking jokes and stuff. And then and because he was so popular, there was a lot of crossovers, like Punisher crossed over, Spider-Man crossed over, and then you had the Infinity Gauntlet story was going on at that time. So you had that big crossover. And yeah, it was just like the best. Like I couldn't, like every time it came in the mail, I'd just run, grab it, and just read it like crazy. And so after that, I was just like, the Hulk's my dude. And I remember in high school when Peter David left the book, after he wrote the Hulk for like 10 years. And he left the book. I remember just being in my room, like pull the shades down, sit in my room, in my dark room, crying, like, no. It was like devastating, just devastating. But yeah, like that was just by coincidence. I just picked the best book Marvel was doing at the time, and I think it was just the high quality, and just got me just like sucked into it. And I had to learn everything about the Hulk, and then I went back and I started when I got older, I went back and I started buying the old stuff. I started buying the Gray Hulk stuff, and then the old Savage Hulk stuff. And to see all the personas, and the thing with the Hulk, and a lot of people don't know this because of the movies, they didn't get into it, but the Hulk has multiple personality, or Bruce Banner has multiple personality syndrome, and so there's all these different he has a ton of personalities. There's not just like it's not just him and Hulk. There was him, there was Hulk, there was Bruce Banner, Hulk, Joe Fixit, then the Professor Hulk, and then you had like the Green Scar, and the Immortal Hulk right now, the Devil Hulk. Like there's a ton of them, so it was just super interesting, and they would change all the time and stuff. So that was really cool in Endgame last year when they showed the Professor Hulk. And I was like, yeah, there's my guy. That's my guy. I was like, there he is. And everyone was like, what the heck? The Hulk's smart? That's dumb. And I was like, no, look at the comics. There it is, And then a lot of people liked him. He was funny and stuff. But yeah, that was my guy. That was my favorite comic growing up. That was the Hulk. And he stuck with me. And then when I got my first tattoo when I was 19 years old, I got the Hulk on my right arm. Just to show everyone how big of a nerd I was.
That's funny, dude.
Then I got Batman on my left arm a few years later, and then I have the bat symbol on my back. Got that a few years after that. So, but Batman more so because it's a great visual. It's just an awesome design. So I was like, this tattoo's gonna look dope no matter what. But yeah, that's my favorite character ever is the Hulk. You guys remember the first Hulk movie, the Ang Lee one in 2003?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never watched it though.
You never watched it?
No.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
But I remember like I wanted to like that movie so bad. Like I was sitting in the theater like, no, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And then afterwards I was like, fuck, it's not good. I was so sad. Like, because I didn't think they'd make it anymore. I was like, that's it. This movie sucked. It bombed. It didn't make no money. They're not gonna make any more Hulks. Like, this sucks. And luckily, Marvel came around later. They got the rights back and they fixed it. So I was like, cool. All right, got my Hulk.
When I was younger, I overcame a lot of fears of the dark because of the Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a closet in your room. You don't want to go in. You wake up at 2:00. It's pitch black. And then I would just say, I'm the Hulk. And I would come out like the Hulk and I'd open up the closet to make sure there was nothing in there. I'm like, see, Hulk will smash. And I'd just go back to bed. I would do that like nightly.
And Patrick, did you watch the Hulk the show?
Of course I did, with Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that show. That was great.
Yeah, see, that was before me. I missed all that.
I saw Lou Ferrigno at a Comic-Con. It was funny because I went with one of my buddies who's a big guy, and he went to go get an autographed photo from Lou Ferrigno. And as soon as Lou Ferrigno looked at us, he my friend is huge, right? And so Lou looks at him, points at him, and then flexes. And then we came over, and then my buddy bought a photo with him. It was pretty cool.
Oh,
he's a really friendly guy.
What's that?
He's a really friendly guy, Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
and then what's up, Brian?
Yeah, so for the movie, like the Edward Norton one, was that from Marvel?
Yes, that was Marvel's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just know about that Easter egg with Thor's hammer, at the cave. So I thought that was still like Universal or Paramount or whatever who owned who made the other movie.
Yeah, so his rights are super complicated. Universal did the rights to the Ang Lee Hulk to 2003. It's just Hulk. Mm-hmm. And then when Marvel did the Ed Norton one, they weren't owned by Disney yet. Marvel had their own studio. They were partnered with Paramount.
Right. And
so that was a co-production of Paramount and Universal together. And then Disney came in, they bought everything. So Disney can't do that with Universal. Like if they make a Hulk movie, Universal gets all the money. So that's why the Hulk can't have his own movie right now. He can only guest appear in other movies. Yeah, so it's pretty messed up. So you can't you can't have a Hulk part 2. You can't. It's just he can only show up in Avengers or Thor or something like that.
Is
And
it gonna stay that way forever, or what? Was there like a
yeah,
term for that?
it kind of seems like it. I'm pretty sure if they could have worked out something by now, they would have.
Right.
They would have taken care of it. They just, yeah, it's just right now. That's just how it is. And it sounds like he can show up on the Disney Plus. He can show up on like he's gonna be in the She-Hulk show. So it sounds like he can do that stuff too, but
He just can't have his own.
he
Hulk
can't have his
show.
he
Okay.
can't have his own.
It's a strange workaround because you could easily work around that. You can have him be like a buddy kind of thing with another big character, like Thor, right? They pretty much did that with him in that movie. So it's you just split the screen time with like another big character.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard rumors. Like, I don't know if this is probably not true, but I heard rumors that they were thinking of doing Wolverine versus Hulk. And that's how you would get away with it. You would call the movie Wolverine versus Hulk, and as long as Wolverine is first, it's okay. I mean, that's just a rumor. I have no idea if they're doing that or not, but that's a way to get around it.
It doesn't have to do with content.
No, nope. It's just he cannot have his own movie, and then it sounds like something's up like that with Namor, because Universal bought the rights to Namor way back when,
Right.
and that's why we haven't seen him. It's the same thing. Like if they do his own thing, Namor gets they get the money for it. So they got to figure something out with him. And then it's funny that Brian brought up Gambit as his favorite character because that's my most hated character. It's a tie, Gambit and Rogue. I hate them so much
Why?
because when I was a kid, and it was during the '90s, remember, and everything was super cool, right? Everything was Mountain Dew and Tony Hawk and super cool, and all the comic book characters had to have a ton of guns like Cable, and everyone had to be just super cool, the coolest. And who were the coolest? Gambit and Rogue. So what was every X-Men comic about? Gambit and Rogue.
Oh, okay.
So I
And-
think it's more of jealousy then, right? It's not that they're taking all the limelight.
Yeah, it was like you had these big stories going on, like and it was like, oh, just look, oh, there's Sentinels attacking, and then Gambit's like, I just wish I could be with Rogue forever, but I can't touch her. I'm like, dude, there's Sentinels. Fight the Sentinels. What?
It's
and
okay. Well, Wolverine and Cyclops got it.
Yeah. Wolverine's got it. We'll just go over here, and Gambit will just be sad the rest of the issue. And it was all the time for years. And on the cartoon, who was Gambit and Rogue, and I couldn't get away from him. I just couldn't get away from Gambit and Rogue. Yeah. So as a kid, I was like, I don't care that Gambit can never kiss Rogue because she'll kill him. I don't care. Where's Apocalypse? Like, kill these guys already.
Those are weak storylines, though.
Yeah, I mean, and
Come
like,
on.
I mean, it was like I said, it was the '90s, so they were in front and center. They were in all the covers. They were everywhere. I hate it. I could not stand those two. Now I have to admit though that over the years, Rogue's character has grown and developed, to where I was like, oh, Rogue's pretty, she's not bad. Like, she had a lot of like she became like leader of the X-Men and stuff like that for a while. So Rogue actually developed a little bit more. Gambit though, he can go play in traffic. I don't care. They try to make him cool. They try to make his character deep. They made him like a horseman of the apocalypse at one point. That didn't make no sense. They had his whole backstory with Sinister, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But it just never stuck with me. Was Gambit. And then they kind of made him a rotating member of the X-Men, where he'd be part of the team, and then he wouldn't, and he would just come for them to help. So then he wasn't even in the comics for a long time, because I don't think the writers knew what to do with him. So his character kind of just stagnated. But I have to admit that Rogue's gotten a lot better. But like the Gambit movie with Channing Tatum, I was interested because I wanted to see what he was gonna do. Like I was like, maybe he can give him some depth, some character in his movie, but that's no longer on the table as of now.
You mentioned that his power is really weak too, right? Like other than like small objects, he can't like he can't like charge up a big item or something to explode.
Yeah, I think the biggest he can go is like a small car. Like he can like let's say he like charged up like a Volvo or something, which will make a huge explosion. That's humongous, but like it would cause him to pass out. Like that's as far that's as big as he can go. But that came from his backstory with Sinister in that when his powers first developed, he can charge things without even touching them. Like that's how powerful he was. So Sinister had to go in and take a piece of his brain out to remove that power and put a cap on it.
Oh well, that ruined his character really.
Yeah, and so yeah, now you really limit his powers because now his powers can't develop because Sinister prevented it. But yeah, the Gambit, yeah, he's just a doofus. I hate Gambit.
Brian, so that's my favorite character, man. Stop.
That's right, dude. Venom's cool. I like Venom. I had all the Venom comics. Can't wait for Venom 2. It's gonna be cool. So yeah. So anyway, that was our favorite characters and our not so favorite characters. Any other characters you guys want to throw in there that you want to talk about real quick?
Well, I've always liked Spider-Man too.
Yeah, I think everybody's.
Yeah, everybody just likes Spider-Man. He's so relatable. I've always enjoyed Spider-Man. Speaking of the Hulk though, I remember watching a cartoon, and I just remember the animation was so bad. I think it was like from the early '60s. So obviously I didn't watch it back then. I saw it in like the '80s. But he would be jumping from mountain to mountain, and it was just like a figure of the Hulk, and they would just physically like move him, like his arms may move. Have you ever seen a cartoon like that, like with the Hulk?
No.
It's crazy, dude. I think they're from like 1966. If you get a chance, take a look at it. It'll crack you up. Like he'll talk, and then he'll want to fight, and his arms will just move, and then he'll just jump, and just his legs move, and then he hops from a mountaintop to mountaintop, starts fighting characters. It's pretty funny. Let's see. I've always liked Batman too. Batman's it's a staple.
Yeah, those are characters that like everyone's gonna say. Wolverine, right?
Yeah, well, Wolverine got super popular.
Yeah, yeah.
Hugh Jackman, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another guy. Everyone's like, dude, Wolverine. Like, he's the coolest.
Well, it's all Hollywood, right? Because I never liked Iron Man. I hated Iron Man. I think I had one comic book with Iron Man in it until Iron Man came out. I'm like, man, he's a cool character. I should have been collecting him all these years.
See, I liked Iron Man. Like I collected the comics, everything. But I remember being surprised when Marvel was like, we're gonna do this new Marvel universe, we're gonna make these movies, and the first one was Iron Man. And I was like, really? Iron Man? He's not that big a character. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Of all of them, like they're not going with Captain America first. Like they're going, okay. And I was like, I don't know. And it ended up being awesome. And I was like, okay, they know what they're doing.
Okay, so as far as other superheroes goes that I might not like that much is probably Daredevil.
Oh, okay. There we go.
And especially the one with Ben Affleck. Yeah, not so good. Did you guys see that movie?
No.
Oh yeah.
What's wrong with that one?
I don't know. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like anything about it. I didn't like Ben Affleck as Daredevil. I just didn't enjoy it. The Daredevil series wasn't bad though. Did you guys like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the series was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, the movie's just corny, super corny, really corny, actually. If you go back, because it was made in like '03, so if you go back and watch it, it does not hold up.
A lot of times these movies that are really bad, they escape my memory. It's like I delete it so I have more memory to use for more useful things. When I see a movie like that, it's just gone. Like right after I watch, I'm like, that was really dumb. I give it some thought for like a day, get mad that I wasted money watching it, and then I move on, and I don't remember much about the movie except that it was bad.
Yeah, like Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So yeah, I think that's it. We just had a little bit of fun with this episode. We'll go into some more comic book news, behind the scenes stuff, some more tips. But we just wanted to have a fun episode to this one. So I think anything. If you guys have anything else to throw in, I think we'll call it for this one.
All right, sounds good.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.